So much so close and so much right here. Hartford couldn't be more convenient and fascinating. With a glorious state capital, 15 museums and historic sites, art galleries, performance venues, a national park and riverfront, there aren't many cities this size packed with more culture and content. There's more here than you imagine. Let's start with the Isham-Terry House Museum, a property of Connecticut Landmarks. This Civil War era mansion is a time capsule filled with the 19th and early 20th century possessions of Dr. Oliver Isham and his sisters Julia and Charlotte, a slice of life you won't believe. Connecticut Landmarks also operates the Butler-McCook House and Gardens, the oldest house still standing in Hartford, with collections and family papers dating back to 1704. Reverend John McCook was a professor at Trinity College. His children were pioneering preservationists who transformed Main Street's last residential dwelling into a time capsule house museum. Nearby is the old State House, built in 1796 and designed by Charles Bulfinch. Its stately interiors and legislative chambers, state-of-the-art Connecticut history exhibition, and fascinating recreation of the Cabinet of Curiosities created by artist Joseph Stewart make for a unique window on the past. In 1879, Connecticut built a newer and larger state capitol that's widely regarded as the most picturesque of any in the 50 states. Designed by architect James Renwick, its soaring Gothic arches and rich historical and allegorical statuary and sculpture make for a masterpiece of high Victorian art. Inside the Capitol is a banquet of fresco painting, wood carving, artifacts, and artwork. Battle Flag Hall, shown below, houses the rare regimental flags from the Civil War and many artifacts. Founded in 1825, the Connecticut Historical Society is one of the oldest in the nation. Its library and museum house millions of manuscripts and one of the largest collections of regional furniture in the nation. Programs and outreach touch varied aspects of Connecticut history. Its Connecticut decorative arts and portraits are outstanding. The Museum of Connecticut History, located within the State Library and Supreme Court building across the street from the Capitol, presents an important collection of Colt firearms and memorabilia, outstanding products of Connecticut's industrial age, the story of the Charter Oak, the governor's portraits, and the famous Freedom Trail quilt. Settled in 1635, Hartford's ancient burying ground is its oldest historic site. Generations of colonial leaders are buried there, including the Reverend Thomas Hooker and first U.S. Congressman Jeremiah Wadsworth. Early Connecticut gravestones include masterpieces of American folk art. Side by side in Hartford's historic North End are two 19th century cemeteries, Old North and Spring Grove. Brimming with statuary, majestic trees, and history, here you will find the final resting place of nationally renowned personalities such as Horace Bushnell, Frederick Law Olmsted, Frederick Church, Lydia Sigourney, and the largest concentration of black Civil War veterans in Connecticut. Cedar Hill Cemetery in the city's south end is a Gilded Age masterpiece designed by landscape architect Jacob Wiedemann. It is a veritable arboretum with countless specimens of flowering trees and shrubs. Sam and Elizabeth Colt, Horace Wells, J.P. Morgan, and Katharine Hepburn are among the celebrated personalities buried there. Hartford is getting a national park. Coltsville, the factory village founded by arms manufacturer and inventor Sam Colt, tells one of the greatest stories of the industrial age, the rise of machine-based manufacturing and the role of firearms in Western migration. In addition to the original factory complex, the Coltsville National Park will feature tours and events at Elizabeth Colt's Church of the Good Shepherd, Colt Park, and Armsmere, the Colt's Mansion, a part of an amazingly intact Gilded Age story. Harriet Beecher Stowe achieved international fame through her writings. A prolific novelist, her greatest influence was through Uncle Tom's Cabin, a book that sparked the anti-slavery fervor that, 10 years later, brought the nation to civil war. Her house has been impeccably restored, and her mission of social justice is the heart of the museum's programming. America's most famous 19th century author, Mark Twain, settled and raised his family in Hartford, in this mansion designed by architect Edward Tuckerman Potter in 1873. It is a masterpiece of modern Gothic design. Its state-of-the-art restoration in the 1970s became a gold standard for preservationists nationwide. Its expansive visitor center puts Twain in context, and it's right next door to Harriet Beecher Stowe. Founded in 1842, Wadsworth Atheneum is today a museum of art, the likes of which cannot be found in cities twice the size. Wadsworth was a patron of Hudson River School founder Thomas Cole. He arranged an apprenticeship with Cole for Hartford native Frederick Church. The collections of early American landscapes are extraordinary. The Atheneum later enjoyed the patronage of J.P. Morgan, Elizabeth Colt, and Samuel P. Avery. Steeped in European art, it also houses the Matrix Gallery of Contemporary Art and the Amstead Center for African American Art and Culture, plus an extraordinary collection of American decorative arts. The Atheneum's Depression-era director, Chick Austin, was a Harvard-educated modernist who brought modern art to Hartford in a big way. Classical on the outside and modern inside, the house he designed for his family in 1930 is open for group tours. It's a mid-century modern masterpiece. Hartford has a vibrant and storied performing arts scene. Hartford Stage is on a roll, having debuted plays that became Tony Award winners on Broadway. The Bushnell is our premier venue for traveling Broadway shows. We also have minor league baseball and a shiny new stadium downtown. The Connecticut Science Center, voted #1 kids attraction in Connecticut, is an interactive environment that features exhibits on the Connecticut River, space, technological innovation, and more. Real Artways rocks the house with avant-garde film, music, art shows, and its beloved creative cocktail hour. Since the 1980s, Riverfront Recapture has reconnected the city with the river that gave Connecticut its name. Flowing from Canada to Long Island Sound, the Connecticut River is New England's longest inland waterway. Hartford is the capital of western New England and the gateway to the treasures north and south.